this sounded like the band just trying to patch up an album that's supposed to sound like a classic Metallica album without actually, putting in their heart and soul into it. And I think that's why the album suffers a lot from sounding a bit soulless at times, a bit too safe, too contrived. But the redeeming factor is that some of the riffs that James came up with are awesome, and Kirk's solos are a very nice addition to this, especially after the absence of any solos on Saint Anger. So yeah, a good record, a solid record, but somewhat forgettable by comparison to other stuff.
I totally agree. I don't have much to add here. Um, Obviously, I think most of us would agree that the standout track here is the Unforgiven, the three, but the rest of the album just not great. Good, but not great.
I
That's
don't
how I
know
would put it,
about the
Lada.
standout track. There's some good tracks here, like That Was Just Your Life, kind of reminiscent of Blackened. I really enjoy it, and
Maybe
I
the day that never comes.
yeah, I don't know, but I kind of enjoy all of the tracks more or less. I just feel like they didn't really. I just feel the band wasn't genuine. That's all. I feel like they were trying to pander to their old fans, to their true heavy metal fans. They kind of failed at that. Also, the album was horribly mixed. It sounds distorted. It sounds too loud. It's difficult to listen to, and that's another reason why sometimes fans don't really like it so much.
Yes, and we have to mention that after being released by Elektra for 20 plus years with that Magnetic, they went with Warner Brothers.
Yeah, but I don't think that played any role. I think that they were just trying to recapture the glory days and kind of failed, but still released a good piece of music. Let's just be frank about that. It's not a bad record. It just lacks that kind of creative spark that you had on Load, for example, or even the Black Album or Master of Puppets, any of this stuff. This was more like Metallica by numbers.
Well said, Vlada, well said. Okay, and now finally the latest release from 2016, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Vlada, hit me with your thoughts.
Um, I think somewhat better than Death Magnetic. Again, I like the production on this one. It sounds better. It kind of breathes, and it's a really long record. So let's see the tracks. I like how they kind of jump from different styles. From one style to another. Like Atlas Rise is something that could have been recorded by Iron Maiden. Then you have the opening Hardwired that kind of harkens back to Kill 'Em All. And you have Dream No More, which is like the thing that should not be part two, very Lovecraftian. I really love that they go through all these different ideas. I feel like they were much more relaxed doing this record. Again, it may not sound like super personal. There aren't many moments like that, which I really miss. I miss James getting more personal and more, you know, I miss those songs that you can truly identify with on some levels. But these are all good tracks. Then you have Man Unkind with its load like riffage. And I have to say, live, these songs sounded really good. I really enjoyed them live. Spit Out the Bone is the one track that everybody was talking about when this came out because it really went back to their thrash roots, and it was such a great, long, almost old style Metallica track, but like everything works on this track, and apparently they were really
Was it
struggling.
Moth into Flame the big thing? Was it Moth into Flame like the big deal before the album was released?
Yeah, yeah, but then when the record came out, Spit Out the Bone was the track that everybody talked about. Another cool thing that they did here was that they recorded a video for each track on the record. So they must have spent a lot of money on that. Um, but
Wow.
it was nice to see all these videos. So it was kind of an event of sorts, this record, and as such, it was better than the previous one. And it's also a bit of a grower. At first, I was kind of confused by it, but once I dug into it after the third or fourth listen, it really sank in. I was disappointed with the leading track, Hardwired. I thought it was lazy. I thought it was very generic. But then everything else following that track sounds better. So, yeah, definitely a step forward, a step in the right direction. Not the Metallica of the glory days, but the kind of veteran band that's still enjoyable and still willing to try out things. So, yeah, definitely a thumbs up for me.
Good, good. I totally agree. It was an upgrade compared to Death Magnetic, and I can say that I enjoyed listening to this album. Moth into Flame is my highlight, but also other tracks as well, like Am I Savage or Man Unkind. So, yes, it was a good direction for the band, and I actually wanted to ask you if they play some of these songs live, but I guess they do. And
Yeah, yeah, a lot of them, and they work. They work, especially in relation to the old material, I think, and the band really enjoys doing them.
yes, and one thing that's interesting that I actually heard for the first time now during the recording is that they made a music video for each track here. I wouldn't really say that that's a positive thing. First of all, I as a music fan don't really watch music videos that much. But this is a long album. We have how much 12 tracks here, so 12 music videos. Like that's some flexing.
I think I think Metallica always wants to kind of be ahead of others, and they have this sort of megalomaniacal complex. So that might be the reason why they did it. But I kind of like the idea. I like seeing all these videos and getting a new video every week. I think for us fans, that's a nice fan service. So it cannot hurt for sure. It cannot hurt.
Totally agree. Yes. And speaking of live performances, Vlad, I want to ask you, when you look at this current lineup and all the Metallica concerts that you've been to, who is your standout Metallica member when it comes to engaging with the crowd?
When it comes to engaging with the crowd, I think they're all pretty awesome at that. James, of course, is my favorite. Also, when it comes to musicianship, I think James is the backbone of the band live. His riffs are incredible. He still has it. Lars is kind of sloppy, but it's okay. He does his thing. Kirk is also a bit sloppy sometimes. I feel like he might be a bit tired of playing the same material over and over again. So that's a huge problem with Metallica that they don't really mix up so much as they should, like because they're afraid to play load songs, for example. They also don't do a lot of songs from Saint Anger or any of these later day albums. So that's a huge problem for them live because then they end up playing mostly like Black Album and the tracks before the Black Album. And as much as I love hearing them, sometimes it's good for the band to mix things up a bit.
You forgot Rob Trujillo, and I actually thought that you would pick him as the standout performer because he has
Yeah,
his Scorpio-like
no,
movement.
musicianship is amazing, but I don't know. His stage presence, I don't. It's a bit cringe. It's a bit cringe. It's like kind of. I don't want to be too critical. He has his thing. I really appreciate him as a bass player. I love what he does with the music. but his stage antics are just not for me. I prefer Jason.
Yes, I think that Rob Trujillo actually reminds you of new metal bands, I would say, with
No,
his
no, not
styling
that.
and
No, no. It's just that I don't know. He's not like it. Just like his image, like all these moves that he has, like they don't really fit how I imagine Metallica. Maybe because I grew up with Jason in the lineup, so it's very difficult to put that together. But he's still a phenomenal musician, so I don't mind. He can do whatever he wants, as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't want them to replace him with anyone else. At this point, I'm not sure that I would want Jason to come back. You know, Rob is fine.
okay, fair enough, Lada. Do you have anything to add? I think that we have covered everything about this great band.
No, nothing to add. I think that it's important to remember why Metallica was important in the first place, as much as they might be grating nowadays and too big for their own good. Um, they are a classic band for a good reason, and I think we will be listening to Metallica many decades from now. New uh, new generations will be discovering their music. They will be like the Beatles of metal in a way.
Ooh, that's a strong statement right there, and I think it's completely justified. You know, you have those other metal greats like Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, but Metallica is kind of in their own league, so to say. And I have to
So
say,
it's
I'm not a.
Sabbath, and then everyone else. Okay.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, I'm not a huge metal fan. I'm not an active heavy metal listener, but if I had to pick one band that stands out, that would definitely be Black Sabbath.
Yeah, and okay, so that's pretty much it for today. I hope you enjoyed this little, very short discussion that we've had. I before we leave, I just want to give a huge shout out to all our patrons. You guys are awesome. Without your help, we wouldn't be able to do this, and we're so grateful to have such faithful fan base. For the rest of you, if you want to support us, check out our Patreon page. You can support us with as little as $1 a month, and that would mean a lot to us. And also, we would love to hear from you. If you have any feedback, whether it's negative or positive, just let us know. We would love to know if you're listening to us. So we're very eager to hear from you.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so we are about to wrap this up here. Dear listeners, thanks a lot for listening to our podcast. Feel free to engage with us, to comment on our social media, and the handle is the same Soundrise Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And also, what I want to say here is that we will release a special minisode after this episode. So we are giving you guys some bonus content. It is actually related to one of the former members of Metallica, and I hope you'll enjoy that one as well. Um, till the next time, all the best, and see you in a week.
Write a review, and then you can share it.
with the world in any social media platform.
And then your friends see it, and you can share and discover new shows together.
This is Steph, instigator of Pod Rev Day, Podcast Review Day.
And I'm Andy from Inspired Money.
And I'm Ariel of Earbuds Podcast Collective and Castbox,
We're here to tell you everything you need to know about Pod Rev Day.
which is on the 8th of every month of every year of every century of every, you get it.
We are posting podcast reviews as part of hashtag PodRevDay, Podcast Review Day.
Because podcasters work their butts off and deserve to know how much they've impacted your lives. And you can do that through reviews.
Even 1 star feels surprisingly good.
Does
It
it?
lets you know that people are at least listening.
Don't be a passive podcast listener. Write a review and tell your favorite creator what you love about their podcast or about a specific episode.
And to participate, you just need to do 1 review.
And we'll see you every 8th of the month.
Pod Rev Day, because podcasters deserve to hear it.
Hashtag
PodRevDay. PodRevDay.